Welcome to this coding tutorial. We're going to build a mobile web photo gallery using Python and Vue, and it'll look like this. So on the left you see a screenshot with a list of photos, and if you tap on one of those it'll show you the photo, and then at the bottom there's a button that you can choose to upload a photo from your phone. So at the end of this tutorial, you'll have the source code for your mobile web app, and also the app will be running live. You can set it up to run on the web. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with an example starter point that kind of is a template to get us started, and we'll add a little bit of HTML code for the list of items and the button to upload, then some JavaScript code that makes the upload button work and shows the list of items, and then some Python code that's going to run in the cloud, and that'll give us a database and the file upload and connect us to the web. This tutorial does not require any command line or terminal stuff or FTP or installing any software. So it's nice and simple. The first tutorial that we're looking at here is just uploading photos and creating a mobile photo gallery, and the next episodes will do things like upload audio recordings, create a feed of photos that people can subscribe to, and also pull in your friends' feeds and combine them into one. So the tools we're going to use are Vue, which is kind of like React. It's a JavaScript framework that makes it easy to build web apps. Mint UI is similar to Bootstrap, and it gives you buttons and widgets for your app. Fleet is a cloud platform for Python, makes it quick to get up and running. And then vFileUpload is a file upload component for Vue. So those are the main programming tools we'll use. To get through this demo and follow along, you're going to want a username and password from fleetcoder.com. You'll need a desktop or laptop computer and a browser like Chrome or Firefox, and then some text editor that you can use to edit some code. So that's pretty much it. We're ready to dive into this tutorial. So let's go ahead. You can go to fleetcoder.github.io to get one of these examples. So I'm going to click here on View Source on this Hello World example. And we're just going to save this. I'm going to call it to1.fleet.html. You want to name it something .fleet.html. And you can see here I've got this file on my desktop now. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to drag it into the web browser, and that's when you can put in your username and password from FleetCoder. And so you can see up at the top here is my Hello World app, and at the bottom here is a little bit of coding help tools, so I can click through to see my app running on the web, and I can click this button to save my changes to this code file. So now I'm also going to open this into my code editor, and so here's our code. This is the boilerplate example app that I was talking about. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add some HTML. First we're going to delete this hello world stuff. So the way you do that is just delete these lines and these variables here, and then in this methods area here you delete this sayIt method. And then the last thing is we're going to delete this Python code. Now we're ready to go. So we can just go up here and we're going to add a little HTML to this app. And it's going to look like this. Just file, upload, upload. So this HTML code will show our file upload button. So now let's look and see if we're getting anywhere with our app. So what I can do here is click the Save Code Changes button, and that'll save my code to the server, the Python cloud code, and also the HTML. You can see we've got an upload control now. So to make that work, we want to write a little bit of JavaScript code and a little bit of Python code. So I'll show you how that works. First thing we need to do is give it a place to upload to. So we're going to add a little bit here. The URL that it's going to upload to is going to be a variable called upload to, and then we're going to define that variable down here in our Vue app. So this is the Vue.js, so we're going to say upload to, and then we're going to make a URL that's a FleetCoder app URL, and it's going to run this Python function, upload file. So this right here is the name of a Python function. It's going to be in our app, and we're just going to define that right down here in this Python area. So define upload file, and we're going to create a folder. So we need to check and see if the folder exists. If it doesn't exist, it's going to be called my files. If the folder doesn't exist, then let's make the folder by doing os.make directories my files. So now you have to have your indentation correct here on the Python code. It is sensitive, or it will not work if you don't have a couple of spaces here and then a couple of spaces here. So our function is upload file, and then if the folder doesn't exist, we'll create this my files folder. So now if we're going to go ahead and copy our uploaded file. So copy file, and there is a dictionary called file data that has a couple of things. Temp name. So when a file gets uploaded to the server, its name is in that temporary name variable. And then the destination is going to be my files slash, and then the name of the file that the person is uploading. So that's in file data in the name variable. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to create a database entry, and so that looks like this. We're going to go add one, and this is going to create a table called files in our SQL database, and the record that we're going to enter will create the fields in the database. So we're going to have name, and that'll be file data name, same as right here above, and so that'll be the name of the file, will get saved in the database. And then we're also going to have a timestamp here, and it's going to be published. And in order for this to work, we actually have to add a line of code here. Oops. Let's move this code up here a little bit. So we're going to add one more line here, time zone. And what this does is tell your app which time zone you're going to timestamp for. So we're going to do US Pacific. And then here when we save to publish, we're going to make a string out of the time zone dot localize, and then we're going to do date time dot now. So this might seem a little complicated, but this will save a timestamp in our database, and that's important later when we want to make a feed of these photos. We're going to want that timestamp there, so that's why we're doing this work here ahead of time. So we're just going to print a 1 that says that worked, you uploaded a file. And so we've written our Python function for uploading a file, that's it. And we've added our upload to variable that tells the upload component where to send files to. And so I'm going to save this. I'm going to save code changes. And now I'm going to upload a file. So let's see here. Okay. Now we can't really see anything yet because we don't have a way to list our files. So we're going to build a way to list our files that have been uploaded. So first of all, we're going to have a list here in the front end. We'll call that files, and that'll be a collection of the uploaded files. And up here in our user interface, we're going to have a list of files. So these are empty-cells, which are part of the Mint UI toolkit, and we're going to loop over each of those files in that files array that we just created. So the way that works is like this. Empty cell space v-4, which is going to be a loop, and it'll be file, comma, index in files. So this files right here is the same as this files we defined right here, which is going to be a list of our files that have been uploaded. And so to finish our HTML here, we're going to have a title for each item, and that'll look like file.name. So that .name actually comes from our SQL database. When we inserted records down here, we created a name field and a published field in our database, and the table name is files. So we got file.name, and that's pretty much it. We can end our HTML here, and that should show a list of files. Now, on the server, we're going to need a way to tell the browser which files, what's the list of files. So we're going to make a get files function in our Python app, and it's quite simple. It's going to be, first of all, you do have to have it indented correctly, and then we're going to do a get all from our database, and that'll be files, and then we're just going to print out the JSON array. So json.dumps and files, oops, we got to put our files into a variable. So files equals get all files, and then print json.dumps files. So now we're able to get the files. So the last thing we need to do is create some JavaScript here. It's going to be a method called getFiles here in the browser in our Vue app, and this is going to connect to our Python function to get the list of files. So it'll be like this: vue.http.get. We'll make another one of these URLs that connects to our Python. So again, this get files right here is a Python function that we're calling, that we created here, get files. And when we get the data back, what we want to do, let's see, maybe .then, get a response, and all we have to do is do this .files equals response.body. And so this .files, again, refers to that files array that we created. So when we upload a photo, we will be able to get a list of files back, and that goes into this array, and then this HTML will draw that list. So now we're going to do one more bit of trickery here. We're going to add a change function on this file upload control. So that change will be called onFileChange. So what that means is there's going to be a change event when the file gets uploaded, and it'll call this onFileChange function, which we're going to create, onFileChange. And what this is going to do is going to call our getFiles function here in the JavaScript. So basically when I upload a file, then this getFiles will be triggered, and we should see all the files that have been uploaded. So that's pretty much it. Actually, we can do it one more place. We're going to put this .getFiles here in the created method also. And so what that'll do is the created method gets triggered when the page gets loaded. So if I save this, we should see the file that I uploaded already. We should save code changes. We got some kind of error here. Let's see. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay. I just reloaded the page and it worked. So we see the one file that I uploaded. So if I click here and upload another file, then it should automatically update. You can see now we can see 2. And upload another one, and now we see 3. So okay, so that basically worked. So the final thing we want to do in this tutorial is make it so we can click on these and see our photos. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a link for each one. And the way you do that is you go into your HTML, the is-link, and then you're going to do 2 equals, and we're going to create a variable called link2. It's going to have our Python URL in it, similar to the ones we've been creating, and then we're going to append that or concatenate it to the ID, the database ID. So it's going to be file.id. So it would be an integer, the record ID from the database. So these two will be combined together. And so we need to create this link2 variable. So we'll add that to our Vue app here, link2, and this will be one of these. Link equals, it's going to be my file. That's the function that's going to display our file. And we have to pass in the database ID. So that goes like this, and file equals. So at the end here will be the ID that is coming out of each item in the loop. So we should have a link, and each link will have a number at the end. And finally, we need to make this myFile function in our Python. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to define one more Python function. It's going to be define myFile. And then it's going to be, we're going to query the database to get that photo out so that we can show it. So we're going to get one from our database files table, and we're going to pass in the ID of the item that was clicked on. So that is done like this, params file. So what that means is in this URL that we created, there's a file parameter right there. And that is how we read that parameter. We get that, and then we pass it into the database query. And now we've got our pick back. So now we can just output it with this JSON format, like this. JSON dumps. I have an array here. I have the file. It's going to be the file name and the path. So it's going to look like this: my file slash, and then the database item. It's going to be the first record we got back, and then the name of the file. And then also we need to say the type of file, and this one's going to be image JPEG. And that's pretty much it. That should work. And I'm going to save this. I'm going to click Save Code Changes here. And then you can see each item has a caret here, which means I can click on it. So I'm going to click on an item, and that's working. Okay, so we're quickly going to switch to a live demo to give you an idea here what this looks like on my phone. So we're going to go to coder21.fleetcoder.com. You can see our demo here is working. I'm going to choose a file from my phone. It's kind of a big file. Looks like I lost my internet connection here. Let's try this again here. Looks like my internet connection on my phone went away, so I'm going to try a different, smaller file here. There we go. Now if I click on that, I can see that photo, just a screenshot. Okay, so that is your tutorial on how to build a photo web gallery and that you can upload photos to. So next we're going to build a feed out of this that people could subscribe to, and you can share your photos and customize how you do it. Thanks for following along.